All right, well, we're going to paint a little brick this morning. I already did a little bit. I did this on a spot where it's not going to be seen. Another building's going to cover it, but I just wanted to test the colors because I had a handy dandy chart that I made with the proper colors for the bricks, and I'll be damned if I can find a thing now. So I'm kind of starting over again, figuring out what colors are best. But how to do this is I'm using your standard hobby paints, chestnut. This one's true burgundy. It's kind of like a dull red. You definitely don't want to use any glossy colors on this. You want to use flat. And if it ends up having a gloss, you can always knock the gloss down with a dull coat. But basically, that's, just, you want a small paintbrush, a very fine paintbrush. And I'm just checking to make sure I'm still in the view here. I just shake up my paint. I'm just doing that for illustration purposes there. And I just take it out of the lid, out of the cap here. And just get a little paint on that. Now, you want to be careful, but you don't have to be too careful with this. Steady hand, support your hand, support your brush. And you don't have to perfectly paint the brick. You want to get the brick, and you don't really want to get much of the other bricks with it. But if you go over a little bit, it's not a big deal. And the reason is because I'm going to go over this with a grouting formula. I use Robert's mortar formula is what I use. And I do have a video in the past. So if you go back and look at, I think it's called Grouting Buildings or something like that. If you'll find grout in the title, I'm sure. But I explain it all and show how to use it on that video. So go look in the archives, you'll find it. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll find it for you. But yeah, you're just basically, you're doing just a random brick here and a random brick there. If you look at a brick building, you'll see you got your base color, what most of your bricks are going to be, and then they'll use accent bricks. Excuse me, and excuse me. And the more different colors that you use of accent bricks, the more expensive it is. So a lot of places would only use maybe one color of alternating brick, maybe two colors, depends how fancy they want to get. And like I said in the video the other day, generally the sidewalls weren't, they were used with just like builder quality, or what they call builder quality or contractor quality now. Brick, just basic bricks, nothing fancy. And they saved the nice faced bricks and the fancy work for the fronts of the buildings because nobody saw the sides of these. And most of these were sandwiched between another building, so you really didn't see the sides of it. And I'm not going to paint the brick where other buildings are going to touch on this just because it's a waste of time. But I did do it to just kind of test and see what colors I want to use of paints for this. And your cheap hobby paints that you can get at your Hobby Lobbies or your Michaels, or I don't know if Michaels, I think Michaels sells it, or your other craft stores carry this stuff. I know you can get it at Walmart too. Cheap stuff. It's only a couple bucks. Lasts a long time. And it's good for a lot of stuff. I use it for painting figures too. Once you prime a figure, it doesn't work really good on unprimed plastic. So you really want to prime the plastic with a primer, such as the Tamiya ultrafine primer is good, but it's really expensive and it's a tiny little can. What I use is on buildings, I use the Tamiya fine primer on figures and anything where I want the detail to show through better, because the Tamiya primer is a real thin primer and it doesn't hide like use a spray can and glob it on and you'll obliterate a lot of your details. So you got to be careful. But on a building like this, a spray can is just fine, because you have a lot of detail, but it's a lot of coarse detail. And you're not really going to fill in the brick mortar with it unless you really go heavy. If you just do a standard light, standard spray job, you should be just fine. So I'm over explaining, I'm sure. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the bricks. And on this building, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to worry because this is an industrial building. This isn't even a nice downtown building. This is your, industrial. It probably didn't have fancy brick in the front either. So I'm going to do just a couple different colors, but I'm just going to do it probably in the front. The rest, but I am going to do the mortar all the way around because they always had mortar. And it looks a lot better with the mortar. And I'll show you, block my camera. I showed you guys yesterday that, but it's kind of hard to see here. Let's see, this building you can probably see it a little better. So, don't worry about going over the edges of your bricks because once you get that mortar in, it's going to form up around the edges of your bricks and bring that brick out. And brick tends to get dusty, kind of a dusty white coating on it with age. So even though I did kind of go a little bit overboard on that wall, it still looks okay. So that's it for now. Still, motel's still sitting there. Not going to be able to get to that for a while until I can afford to get the parts for it. So we're just going to work on something else. And I'm going to continue on with this building until I get it finished. So you're going to see a lot of the factory building over the next week or so. It'll probably be the main thing that I feature. And that's about it. Got any questions about anything? Feel free to ask. Put it in the comments. You guys know I always answer. Either I'll answer in the comments or sometimes I'll even make a video to illustrate the answer if I feel that it's necessary. So please like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I sure do appreciate it. And we will see you again very soon.